What's going on, all you awesome people, and welcome to the Copa America 2024, originally planned to be live stream react, but right now it's going to be more of a preview of what's going on and what hasn't happened yet. My name is Scott Churchson. I am the jack of no trades and master of even less, and alongside me is Mr. JD Walker, who is very clearly showing his loyalty to whichever team and the players that are involved there. We are going to be starting this. The original game plan that I had with this was we were going to be doing this, picking up more or less halfway through the match and things like that. But because of the delays that are currently going on over there and everything that's happening, with the fans having fun storming the castle, the match is now set up to start about 9:15 instead. And as a result, we're kind of sitting on our hands a little bit here. But in the meantime, sir, how the heck you doing?
Happy Bastille Day, as the fans literally storm the castle or prison. I don't know. This has been it's been a rough week for CONMEBOL, to say the least. First the incidents the incident after the game in Charlotte with the Uruguay Colombia, which I saw more highlights and video from that than I did from the game itself, which tells you enough about that situation. I grew up in basketball by trade. I didn't actually play, but working in and around the game in various grunt roles.
I've seen it. I know the ball when I see it. Yeah,
over the year. So it helps with translation in my head. But this was a Malice at the Palace type of moment. While way worse things have happened at CONMEBOL matches in South America, talking, people, less people, the numbers changing on attendance during the game in the wrong directions, shall we say?
Now in this case here, I'm curious. Do you feel the fact that it's in Miami and obviously Lionel Messi playing there has some impact on the, frankly, all the fans just storming the gate and trying to get in?
I think that might be a factor. I'm not saying that in a way of like blaming Miami authorities or stadium officials or anything like that. But Miami is a destination. That's for everybody. That's why they put it there. It is the current backyard of MLS Pink Jesus. So this was to be expected. I mean, things weren't exactly hunky-dory at the Meadowlands the last few weeks from bits and pieces I've heard here and there, but nothing like this to my knowledge.
I mean, we have a match that's going to have, like I said, an hour, in this case, about an hour and 15-minute delay. They're pushing it back now, the latest to 9:15. This is actually, like I said, in this case, this is not a good look for the league here. Especially with the worldwide stage staring at this and the fact that World Cup is going to be down here as well in 2026. So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of concerns about something like this.
Yeah, well, JJ Pavlik, who is supposed to be joining us later on about Bad Dogs.
JJ is trying to work himself down the stairs after an injury last week.
Yeah, and hope he's feeling better. Yikes.
We'll ask him directly when he finally gets here. Yeah.
But I know he had heard some things that said that the entire organization of this tournament has been less than stellar, and that especially the media arrangements were absolute chaos, to say the least.
I've heard that from a couple of different sources, that from the press, and a lot of times with events like this. I mean, I haven't seen it too much with like Leagues Cup or CONCACAF aren't usually too bad. I mean, they had their glitches, but apparently this took it to a level like way beyond that. And as a result, like I said, it's a bad look all the way through. So when JJ does get here, he's going to talk a little bit about some of his trials and tribulations on that. We probably also, with the time, we'll be talking a little bit about U.S. men's nationals, possibly the record-setting appearance of the youngest player in MLS history, possibly this week, in Kevin Sullivan, a kid who was born when I was 34 years old and already divorced and paying my ex-wife. So thanks a lot, Kevin. You're making us all feel old here.
I own a car older than Kevin
Yeah.
Sullivan.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Actually, my mother-in-law's car is older than Kevin is at this
Well,
point.
that's different. That car's older than all of us. So,
It's an '06, so it still works, and we're probably gonna
oh, I
fly
thought
through.
you meant the classic car.
No, not the 60, not the no, the 66 Satellite's a different car. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking like her regular driving car, which in this case, like I said, was a 2006 and is older than the phenom that is Kevin Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna basically run a couple things by you with that regard. Even the usual level of security soccer. I've heard the phrase security theater, where you have these people that are there and you're like, okay, yeah. Something like this, obviously, with the fans storming the gates, and getting in, there's only so much an unarmed security person is allowed to legally do. In New Jersey, for example, you can get an unarmed license. It's called a SORA, and that allows you to basically try and stop people. But if it gets escalated, that's when you go to the cops. But you are typically ill prepared for anything, and especially with happening in Miami right now with the fans storming. I mean, like I said, this is a bad look, man.
I put this on CONMEBOL. This is CONMEBOL with assistance from the U.S. Soccer Federation, and also there's just too many. There's too many letter groups involved, and everybody wants their own credit. It's their own territorial pissing matches. You just saw the microcosm of it with the U.S. Uruguay match in Kansas City, where for the first half you just had the drone shot. It was like the Alt 22 overhead cam shot was the only one that was made available. Fox is blaming CONMEBOL. CONMEBOL's blaming the TV partners, but like everything, a lot of it, and also this is. Needs to remember this is new to us, especially as soccer fans. It wasn't until a few months ago that I knew that Copa America has actually been played in the U.S. before in 2016 with the final in MetLife Stadium. So there's a lot more people paying attention now. But I will say this: FIFA and the NFL run which their security rules. While the NFL is not involved in these events, they kind of are by proxy because many of the venues are NFL stadiums, which have uniform security regulations. And part of the issues with the crowds has been that there have been while us as Americans and we're used to the security theater, let's say. Fans traveling here from South America may not be. So there was a lot of disconnect as far as what things are allowed to be brought in. That's why you don't really see any signs. It's a big dichotomy from Euros. It's a much different atmosphere. People said it's more corporate. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
America. It is the U.S. It is America where money talks, and and that's why CONMEBOL is here. CONMEBOL brought this event to the United States to suck up a lot of money from Americans and tourists, for the South American Federation, and it's also a dress rehearsal of sorts for not only the U.S. men's national team, which failed miserably, as we've discussed, and we will discuss further later on. It's discussed like it's it's planning for the World Cup, but and that this is a black eye on the U.S.
It's good practice.
On the appearance, it is, but at the same time, it's the people behind the scenes, and FIFA is not going to. FIFA will be handling things way differently. And,
It's a good,
the U.S. did host the World Cup in 1994, and so it's not like this is completely new, never happened before, and that was a catalyst for the game in America that created Major League Soccer.
But the problem is that was 30 years ago, which with the evolution of technology and the way things are going, might have well has been 100 years.
Yes, absolutely, and there is truth in that, but also just how that leveled up soccer, which was practically non-existent in the U.S., compared to other sports before that, versus now moving soccer that is comparatively niche, compared to the NFL, the NBA, to a level that would be right behind, if not equal on par with them, right at the same status. Things like this are not a good look, but also in the guise of everything else that has been going on in the world in the last 24 to 48 hours, I don't.
Not the worst thing out there,
I don't think that very many people will be talking about this for very long. And by the time that the 2026 World Cup comes around, this will just kind of be this will be a distant memory. It's kind of a funny story that we're looking back on, and for what I've heard and read from veterans of these tournaments that have been around this and have traveled around the world way more than we have. CONMEBOL's not exactly known for running a tight ship as far as organizing.
Well, I said, it's going to be interesting to see if they can get it right for 2026, because obviously that's a way bigger look than this is, because today was at least offset by the Euros. So a lot of Europe actually isn't going to be able to watch this game necessarily, because it's about 3 o'clock in the morning on a work night.
Well, most of Europe feels that this competition, that these teams are inferior anyway. Yes. So they'll just watch the highlights tomorrow.
The highlights, or they're checking
the diehards. That'll be up, and that'll be up and watching it. The people that like Messi all around the world, they'll stay up until whatever hour.
Well, it's curious because I can't speak for all of Europe, but I know in England, if you're over the age of 40, you have to sign a letter of consent to say that you are willing to work overnights. So it's not like basically here where it's like, you're 55 years old, you work on an overnight shift. Now, you got to sign a release to say, yes, I'm willing to do this. So as a result, you have a lot more people that are prone to work during the day. And that, of course, would affect what's happening here, because this game, like I said, is 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning before it even starts. So they're either going to get up. They probably got up stupid early for this thing, and now they're sitting around waiting for this thing to get going. But
they've been drunk since this morning watching Euros.
I wish I was. I can't get that bottle of wine in the fridge opened up, man. But speaking of Euros, obviously the Euros ended today, like you mentioned to me privately. Spain won 2-1, basically a nice little pickup at the end. Throughout all of Europe, there was one country that was rooting for England, and that country, of course, was England. Not to be confused with Scotland or Wales or Ireland, who were all rooting for Spain because to England, you snobby elitist bastard. But yeah, Spain pulls out the 2-1 win, scoring late. All of Europe rejoices in this particular case, but
all of the world rejoices.
Yes,
England, the most celebrated holiday in the world, is celebrated on an average of I think like every 24 days. It's by billions of people, and that is independence from England.
Yeah,
and for English football fans in particular, they have the arrogance of New York Rangers fans. The trophy case they have the trophy case of the New York Rangers. But they have the arrogance of the Dallas Cowboy fans. You act like you run the place, or that, coming home, football is coming home. Coming home to where? Won one World Cup. while anybody's been alive, never won the Euros. Oh, this time they choked in the finals the last 2 times instead of in the semis like they did. But hey, at least it wasn't penalty kick.
Don't forget, you have a country with an adjective as its first word. How many countries in the world actually have an adjective? Yeah. I mean, it's not just Britain, it's Great Britain. Not run of the mill, but you know what? We are Great Britain. By the way, JJ Pavlik, thanks for joining us, man.
No problem.
How you feeling? You all right?
Yeah, hanging in there, eating pain
That's cool.
for a living.
What's that?
Eating pain for a living at this point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you were actually working with. We were talking a little bit about some of the headaches and the challenges that occurred with Copa, with press, with security, and now, of course, with delays because of what's going on over there. As I've talked about it, trying to do my best Billy Crystal, have fun story in the castle. Try to pull the best Princess Bride I can do here. But I know you have some firsthand experience when it comes to the stress and the agitation of this. So the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, Cannonball dropped the ball in so many ways. I know personally, I've spoken to several executives from the NFL who do security for a living on a daily basis. Some of them I used to work with. They tried warning Cannonball that what Cannonball wanted to do would be a disaster. They told him, look, for crowds this size, we need to treat it like an NFL game. No. Soccer, well, we got this. We just want the bare minimum. We want stadium security, some police. We'll be okay.
Keep the budgets low.
Yeah. Now, some fans are observant and know about it. Some not so much. But without going into too much detail, pretty much an NFL game, even if it's like 2 last place teams heading off against each other in a major city, is at minimum stadium security, team security, the executives for both securities. Sometimes it's the same, one and the same. It depends on the team. You've got local police, state police, FBI, Homeland, and the military. The stadium security is usually not armed. It's usually the other guys. There's anti-terror units, there's snipers, there's aircraft that I won't mention because, well, it's supposed to stay secret. But there's a large security measure to where they can see anything coming from a great distance before it even gets to those gates. Cannonball? No. It's soccer. It's big here, but it's not that big. Like, we'll be okay. Just stadium security like in any MLS game. Okay. Sure.
With Lionel Messi in the phone.
That's what you want. And they've gotten lucky up until these last 2 rounds. Charlotte should have been their eye-opener to turn around to Miami and be like, hey, I know we said we didn't want that deluxe package, but can we get it, like, now?
Yeah.
And, like, look,
we will pay the dumbass tax for that.
48 hours, but it can be done. It's not like if Cannonball picked up the phone even 8 o'clock last night and said, hey, Hard Rock, yeah, you remember what you told us? Yeah, we'd like to go ahead and implement that now. It can be done that fast. It's not mission impossible. We have planes. We have an Air Force that can fly people in. Stuff can get done. They didn't do that. They felt that, stadium security, who, mind you, in most states, is not licensed. They never have taken a course in what to do to deal with situations in any security level. They're just usually minimum wage. Usually it's a bunch of grandmas and grandpas, and then frat boys that run from age 18 to 21 who've never ever dealt with a hostile person a day in their life.
Yeah. Maybe like the bouncer at your local bar, but
yeah. Like they don't have big brute forces coming at them, threatening to beat them up, and will actually try to do so. You know, like, that's what they wanted to go with some local police. Now, the problem with only going with local police, as you see, is Miami-Dade cannot send their entire police force to Hard Rock for a game. At most, they're probably sending, be conservative, maybe 50 officers.
That's about what I was thinking. I was thinking 50.
Like, they're not sending every officer with a badge down to that stadium. Otherwise, Miami would be a free-for-all, run through and have fun just committing crime left and right because no one's there to stop you.
So, for comparison, how many state troopers would there be at say, the typical Jets or Giants game?
So usually the way that the police are divvied up, and I'll go with the Patriots just because I've worked with them and I know them a little bit better. You would go about 25 Foxborough, 100 State, 25 from Bedford, 25 from Boston, 25, and they'll just pick like 4 or 5 surrounding towns and bring in 25 officers from them. And then you've got your suits and everything else that make up the difference. Plus, you know, at the time when I was there, you had Mark running it, who's now the head of NFL security. And everyone kept saying, oh, you over-prepare for everything. You got too much staff here.
You have to.
Yeah,
I'll say
we have finally kicked off.
I was going to say, we just got underway. We're about a minute in.
More possible attacks than anybody. We were the #1 security force for a reason for the NFL. Some might have thought it was excessive, but nothing ever happened at Gillette Stadium. It stood. It still stands. We've got we definitely have more cameras than Times Square by 100. It's not even a close number, which is kind of scary given the footprint that a football stadium has more cameras than one of the biggest iconic areas in New York. But that's your typical game anywhere in this country. Now, the number of officers obviously varies by the city and the state. Like Indianapolis, you're going to have less officers because, well, it's a smaller footprint. But in your major areas, you're going to have at least 300 police officers from surrounding areas coming in. Hard Rock does not have that. They've got the Miami-Dade police, and from what I was told, maybe a handful of state troopers that helped fill in at the last minute. But from what I was told is the security that's there would not even be a third of what it would be for an NFL game or a concert. So,
and in this case, obviously, you got fans coming from all of South America.
Oh, yeah. You've got from South America, all over the United States, Europe. You know, we've all seen it with Gold Cup and these other tournaments when you have teams that are big and they show up. You know, like, I'll give it to CONCACAF, and I'll use this example at Red Bull Arena. Guatemala versus Guadalupe, you would not think, oh, yeah, bring in a billion police officers and everything because 2 tiny little countries going at each other, but there was word that if one of these teams won, they would try to invade Red Bull's field after the game. CONCACAF listened, and they brought in extra security. They brought him in the final 20 minutes of the match and built a barricade around the pitch. Like, you could not. It would basically be like playing the game in the 80s where you called that friend over and then you clotheslined them. Is basically what the security was like.
I've seen that happen at Prudential Center for college basketball games.
Where exactly. That's another point.
There's more security at the average basketball game at Prudential Center. You know, which would be a college basketball,
regular Big East basketball,
and 10,000-ish people. and they protect the court better, because I've seen somebody try to break through the perimeter and then get clotheslined like a like a linebacker coming up the middle. So for the fact that they had less security than that at Hard Rock Stadium for 7 times the amount of people, that's asking for failure. And
and of course, the biggest soccer star on the planet.
Yeah, and to get back to, as we were saying, before you came on, JJ, where this is, and you've confirmed, this is on CONMEBOL. This is not necessarily a bad look on the United States, the NFL, whoever. This is just CONMEBOL did not know what they were getting into, and I think FIFA will run a way tighter ship, and then the NFL and all of the alphabet soups of agencies at various levels will be involved. You will not see anything like this at the World Cup.
Yeah, no, I think your colleague Tannenwald already put it out there. Like, if you know the people that are running it, like, this will be ran more like the Euros come the World Cup, where before you even get to the gate, you've already got your ticket scanned and gone through multiple levels of security before you even get within, I want to say, about 200, 300 feet. Some of the stadiums, it'll be a little bit less because their footprint from parking lot to the gates is smaller. But on average, you're going to have to go about 4 levels, 5 levels of security before you even get to those gates. That probably would have stopped what happened. Now, I know some of them were like, well, the heat was so bad that people were just trying to get inside to get water. Part of me feels bad for you. So bad. The other part is nobody told you to get to the stadium at 8 o'clock in the morning and start drinking beer from 8 o'clock in the morning until the gates opened up. Maybe get to there at 8 o'clock in the morning and start drinking water to begin with, and maybe a couple of beers before entering. Like,
it's kind of like, they have like SantaCon or Leprechaun or any of these things in New York City or Hoboken, where a lot of times you start drinking at 8 a.m.
Like, there are certain teams in the NFL that when they come to town, their fans are going to be absolutely shit-faced before they get to the gate.
Yep.
And you're prepared for it, especially on those hot games where temperatures are reaching 90, 100 degrees. Like, I don't know how you can put that on CONMEBOL, the U.S., the police, anybody other than the fans that decided to show up, tailgate, and drink from the second they woke up until it was time to enter for the game. Like, at some point, like, fans have to take some responsibility for their actions, and if you're choosing to drink that much to where you're dehydrated and need the medical tent before the first second of kickoff, it's kind of on you.
A scientist in Norway recently made a discovery of something of the worldwide population for the first time in human history. It never happened before. The worldwide IQ actually went down. I don't know if you should have that kind of faith that people can take personal responsibility, because, again, it's the first time ever our global IQ actually dropped.
Yeah, but like we've all been.
Yeah, maybe I am good for that refill now.
Can you picture an NFL stadium providing shade for 80,000 people in the parking lot?
No
way. I did see a video
air conditioning and air so that they can just drink their butts off.
Yeah,
like I saw a video
and not pay consequences for their own actions. Like, they can only do so much.
There was a video I saw on another channel where they were saying, oh, there's no fan fest at any of the stadiums. Like, which I guess apparently does have a lot of that, more tents. You expect more tents and free-flowing beer or whatever. Yeah, that doesn't happen unless somebody is unless Budweiser, Coors, whoever is sponsoring that. And it sounds like they weren't, and that isn't happening by the graciousness of anybody's hearts. It is unless it is a part of a massive sponsorship deal. So, and clearly, CONMEBOL got what they paid for in every aspect.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to take the advice from those here, those who have been through it, those who have done the big events, and you kind of pay the price. And it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. But in this case, the match is underway. It's at 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
There is no scores. We're not going to, like I said, my original plan with this is we were going to, run for more or less the second half kind of thing. But between obviously the delay, the 25-minute Shakira halftime show, which is, by the way, pissed off some of the coaching staff because they're used to a 15-minute halftime, and now they got to readjust to the extra 10 minutes. I don't know if it's really that much of a disadvantage either way because both teams are struggling in that regard.
Argentina comes out late from halftime every game anyway, so what difference does it make?
Which is one of those things where they were like, okay, there's like a $15,000 fine. But it's something that a lot of people right now are kind of like, what the shit's going on with this? So as a result, we are probably not going to be doing the full match as planned. But
we're in the 10th minute, no score.
Yeah.
Goal kick just went clear from one end of the field to the other the other goal.
But yeah, no, I think in this case, the match finally underway. This is what, in some ways Miami has been saving. It's kind of funny. This is part of what Miami has been saving Lionel Messi was for Copa America, so he could win it in Miami. They have rested him for a lot of the stuff that's going on. Obviously, the MLS Cup Finals. They're prepping him for a run against Cincinnati and LAFC, and Columbus, true. But at the same time, it's one of those things that they have deliberately made sure he was ready for this, to get that title.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think Colombia might pull it off.
I'm not saying they can't, but
it's one of those where watching the tournament, Colombia should probably win this, but it's Messi on the other end.
Exactly.
On paper, like for the 11, Colombia is the better team, the deeper team.
Mm-hmm.
But when, you got the GOAT on the other side, so
exactly
anything can happen.
Yeah. No offense to Hami over there, but he's no Messi. No matter how many you want to put the graphics of the great number 10 jersey wearers between the two countries, when you get down to Yami and Messi, they are not the same. One is him and the other is not him.
Yeah.
But do you guys have any predictions for this match, by the way?
2-1 Argentina.
Yeah.
After watching the Spain and England game, probably going 2-1 Colombia.
Okay. I'll go 2-1 Argentina only because, again, it's technically home turf for Messi.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to have something to do with all of it.
He will be playing in a stadium that surprisingly, well, after all the arrests, I don't know if it's going to still stand, but ticket-wise, it was sold more towards Colombia than it was towards Argentina. So we'll see.
Looking at the crowd, it looks, I'd say, about 60-40 yellow versus the blue and white.
So even after arresting the gate chargers, Colombia still had more people there.
Looks that way, but not that much. It looks.
Yeah.
It's closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was supposed to be somewhere around like 70-75.
Yeah.
Towards Colombia and the rest being Argentina / mix. But I don't know. I'm kind of shocked at the low amount of pink jerseys that showed up, though.
You would think there would be more than that, yeah.
Yeah,
that's because they're wearing the blue and white jerseys.
The blue and white jersey, so
Yeah, valid. Trying to find something here specifically, so. But
as you see, I like the black one better.
You know what? You go with what makes you happy, sir. But all right, I guess we could probably talk about a couple other things while this is going on. We'll discuss it as it happens, but.
Although one last note before we switch to Euros, there was I forget the fellow's name. He works for Apple News Sports, where he was on a podcast talking about the dichotomy between Euros and Copa, and that Euros supposedly is more free flowing. Yeah, that person has never watched England play, apparently. But Copa is more like a bunch of dudes running around with hammers trying to hit each other. And I'd say that's a very accurate description of CONMEBOL.
Not bad.
CONCACAF, you know, I used to say that I said during Leagues Cup last year and covering CONCACAF Champions Cup, as it was called last year, that Liga MX teams remind me of watching the NBA in the 90s. You know, just if you're going to go through the middle, you're going to get clobbered.
Yeah, you could pretty much put it as the Euros was a minimum security prison, and Copa's been security max, where you've got the worst of the worst going at each other. But yeah, no, it's been definitely more wide open and more violent in Copa than it has been in the Euros.
Sure.
And a lot more rolling, surprisingly, without Brazil's games.
Yeah.
Like Brazil's games, you kind of expect the rolling, but everybody else, it was just like, okay.
As we are currently watching James from Colombia rolling on the pitch right now.
And I'm trying to readjust the
Perfect timing, I know.
I'm sitting here trying to
have the game on in my car
from the YouTube video.
Yeah. It's,
By the way, can I just gripe about something real quick?
Sure.
Normally these shows, when I do them, they go on Twitter as well. And with Twitter, routinely, I mean, the best numbers for every live show that we know. Because when you're established with soccer and you have a soccer live show, Twitter recognizes it. Apparently, Twitter has changed the rules on this and will only allow you to live stream if you have a premium account. So, in order to go back and live stream again,
you need to pay Elon for the check mark. You must offer tribute or
exactly, yeah.
Or I don't know how it works, but if my premium account gets you to stream it on it, go all ahead. I've got no problem with it.
But dude, I mean, here's the thing. You know, my shows we've been streaming on there. Other shows we've been streaming on there. It has never been an issue at all.
I was listening.
I got right in the top quarter here. I've got a red exclamation mark. It's like you have to have a premium account. I'm like,
somebody put out there during this whole Trump thing that happened yesterday.
Oof.
It's getting kind of annoying having to fish through the trolls to find the real journalists to find out what's really going on. And someone was like, well, the real journalists all have gold check marks. And I was like, excuse me, no, that's not accurate. Not every journalist can afford $1,000 to $2,000 a month for a gold check mark. Sorry.
Yeah. The blue ones
those gold check marks are CBS News, ABC, CNN, Fox. Their own reporters don't even get the gold check mark, and they work for them. So to ask journalists to cough up $1,000 just so you can recognize them, it's ridiculous. Like Elon should come up with a check mark for journalists / media and go through somewhat of a verification process like we all do for any event anyway, and weed out the trolls that put out misinformation, which there was a shit ton yesterday. Like, you had guys taking the images of the innocent Italian volunteer firefighter in Pennsylvania who saved 6 people's lives and being called the shooter. Just because they didn't understand that when bullets are flying, you don't remove a body on a stretcher. You pick them up by the limbs and you get them out and down the staircase as fast as possible. You don't wait and do it the nice way we're all used to seeing a body being removed.
You know, here's the thing. You know, when it comes to politics, I mean, if I ever felt like creating like a politics channel, I'm pretty sure I can monetize it in like an hour. You know, growing up being so political in the early 90s, you know, I could have listened to Def Leppard. I could have listened to Metallica. I could have listened to New Kids on the other side of the. No, I listened to talk radio for 12 hours a day, you know, because this is how I was with my teenage days. But my entire company is built on distractions, you know. So whatever's going on in Washington or anybody that's fighting for Washington, I'm just like, nah, you know. You know, I mean, listen, if Christian Benteke is playing in Washington, okay, I'll have a conversation on that, because that dude went like every friggin' header, you know, his aerial duel percentage is like through the roof.
Oh, yeah. But, you know,
everybody's like 50, 55%. He's like freaking 90, you know.
It's just amazing how everybody thinks that journalists make about $4,000 or $5,000 a month and can afford $1,000 check mark.
No, I have had conversations with well-established journalists / bloggers from the New York City Football Club, some of which I'm sure you probably know, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't make any money on that."
I'll put it this way: out of the folks that I know from the Philadelphia Union press box, I think there's only 3 of them where reporter is their actual, job that they're getting
Occupation.
their main paycheck for. There's maybe 2 or 3 of them. The rest are just like us, just doing this as just doing this as a passion, maybe a bit of cash on the side, but nobody's getting, not many folks are getting rich from doing this.
No. But it's funny because you look at everything, that when we had our conversation with Brad Sims, the CEO of NYCFC, that question was brought up. It's like, why aren't like the Daily News, CBS, Fox, ABC, whatever, any of the Wall Street Journal, why are they not showing up? Like, we're focusing really on bloggers because our target market is younger. And while that is true, I think at the same time, I think if the Wall Street Journal wanted to start doing something on NYCFC would be like, please come on in, be my guest.
Right, but that doesn't change the fact that Wall Street Journal doesn't care about NYCFC, and none of those major publications do.
Exactly,
if they cared or had the budget to do so, somebody would be there.
Like even on the NWSL side, the Wall Street Journal has been at all the big events, and to her credit, she's been at some Gotham games, she's been at some Spirit games, but it's not like it's an everyday appearance. The only one that I've seen now making an everyday appearance, and you got to meet them, Gotham, was the Post recently, which out of nowhere decided after being labeled as the only coverage in New York, decided
Messi just had a shot saved in the 20th minute.
But, 21 minutes, almost halfway through the first half. Still nothing. But like I said, when it comes right down to it, bloggers are the future. You look at, and what's definitely hurting, I think, mainstream journalism is paywalls. Nobody wants to basically, even there's a couple of major NYCFC outlets that went paywall or trying to for profit. And nobody, basically, when you're a society that eats ramen noodles like 10 meals a week, you're not going to sit there and pay like $10 a month for a paywall. You're going to be like, screw it, I'm finding something else. Is it accurate? Don't know. It's free though. Here.
Yeah, like I'm one of the ones that had to go to the paywall, and it wasn't because I wanted it to be a paywall. It's just, if you want me to keep covering these teams, money's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
We've had the conversation.
And before you
hang it up and go join a front office somewhere. But I like being able to cover who I want, going to all these games. But, it's going to get to the point where, if people don't want to pay for the coverage they're getting from the bloggers, then I know personally I'll jump to the front office in 2 seconds, but out of that press box, I'm probably one of like 4 who can actually do such a thing. Most bloggers can't do that, just jumping from the press box to a front office somewhere. But
still, by the way, no score at this point. Is the
I get the fans' reaction about paywall, but at the same time, I don't know where you expect the cash to come from because the teams are not paying for us to go travel to go cover them. Those days have been long gone where a team will pay you to fly out, and by payment it could be a plane ticket and a hotel, or a plane ticket, a hotel, and a couple $100. Like, those days are gone.
Now you have to pay for your own food.
They're not coming back anytime soon.
Looking at you,
depending on the venue, we do pay for our own food and parking.
Yeah.
Although somebody complained the other day about with the union, you're paying for parking on a gravel lot.
I mean, they don't want to start on that lot for us, and now we get gravel, and in the supporter section nonetheless. So when you're an out-of-state journalist, whether you cover the union or not, New York plates at a Philadelphia parking lot is never a good recipe. And I've left where my car's been scratched. There's been dents left in it. There's nothing I can do. We've told the union several times that, having out-of-state media parking with your ultras is not a good idea, but
we apologize for any inconvenience.
Just goes in one ear and out the other, but, it's not going to stop me from covering the union. Like, it's one of the teams I do enjoy covering. Like, me, JD, Tannenwall, and others will sit in there and laugh and have fun before the game. And, there's no hostility just because some of us are not from Pennsylvania, But unfortunately, we have fans that think that if they see a plate outside of Pennsylvania, it's the enemy.
By the way, still no score. 25 minutes in at this point.
Yeah, I've talked with a few other of the other internet reporters for the Union, where it's just like, how many, like, with how crazy life is, how many people are you seeing for dinner once a week, outside of your family or your immediate family or whoever you're sharing a household with? Like, not very many usually, but like you have the same group of guys having dinner before a game, watching, more often than not, our team lose. So yeah, it is
not the worst team in the league, though. They're not the worst team in the league.
Oh yeah, yet, but John Fisher. It is also a fun fact. John Fisher also owns the San Jose Earthquakes, so he is destroying Bay Area sports in 2 sports.
In San Jose, the Sharks suck ass too. Although they did improve in the offseason.
It is true though, JD. Like, honestly, most of those media days, it's sitting with a second family. Like, you actually see each other more, probably, than we see our own families for majority of these seasons. Like, and like probably even more so for me, because I also cover the NHL and the NFL and everything. Like, I'm on the road even more than just the 18 games that some of the MLS reporters are on. I'm pretty much year round. Like, there'll be times where I'll leave the house and they'll be like, okay, see you in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 months? Like, when are you coming back? And it's like, it's a joke, but at the same time, it's kind of almost reality. And, and then you wonder why journalists are putting up paywalls. Like, those things don't happen for free. Unfortunately, the hotel does not care that you're there to go cover the game. They're not giving you the room for free.
So this might not even be a 2-1 final. This might even be less than this.
It's it's still early. We're in the 26th minute. They're still filling each other out. I think somebody gets a goal before halftime.
As long as it's more interesting than the NYCFC Chicago game last night.
I didn't even watch the Union in Toronto game last night.
Probably healthier. They lost.
Yes, it was more of a thing. I'd rather have the Euros in Copa on Sunday.
They gave up 2 goals late.
Yeah, I've seen the good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find ways to lose, and the Union have managed to do so in ways that I just didn't even know possible. Blowing three goals in 10 minutes against a team on the bottom of the table, blowing 2 goals up by 2 men, and 3 actually for a time since there was an injury. Funny I say that, right? Is there's another Argentinian player face first in the pitch.
Martinez.
And just like there isn't much left to say about this team. Like, I'm tired of writing the same crap every game.
That was us last year, though. So
yeah.
But here's the thing: you might actually have something worthwhile to talk about.
Yes, there was, and this one tidbit that came out of Tim Curtin's post-game press conference last night was that it came out during the Apple broadcast last night. I don't know if it was English or Spanish or both. Our colleague Jose Nunez spotted this that they said that they did want to bring Kevin Sullivan with the first team for this trip, but essentially there's too much paperwork involved, when it comes to child labor laws in two countries, going over the border, blah, blah, blah. So it didn't happen. So I believe the clock is July 24th it's July 27th something for Kevin, for July 29th. For Kevin to make it into a match to break Freddie Adu's record for the youngest player in MLS and any of the other American U.S. professional sports. So there's a chance. I don't know if he'll make it into a game, but it's very easily cynical to say, oh, this is just a marketing gimmick. But also, from the moment he was signed to that contract, you knew that this was what they were going for.
Yeah.
Also, it's not like he's going to step on the field and then be the starting striker for the rest of the year.
I don't want it to be an Ike Davis situation. That's all.
Yeah, I feel for this kid. And for as much of a train wreck as the Union have been this year, do we really want to we don't want to throw a literal child into the middle of all of this?
Here's the thing. I don't see a problem with it because it's low pressure. The team's not playing for a playoff spot. They're obviously playing to 2025. Throw him out there, get him some training, get him some experience, and then prep him to be ready to start next year. I think honestly this is the best scenario because, like I said, the team is not going to get, not getting ninth place at this point. I don't know what the statistics are, what the numbers are, but that'll give the kid a chance to just get his feet wet, get acclimated, and connect with his older brother. The two of them can kind of have like a Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes sort of scenario, and I think this could help them a lot.
Just before you brought it up, I was going to ask you about the whole Kevin situation. Like, what I understand is, like, if this kid was over in Europe, he goes into a match, no questions about his age.
Mm-hmm.
Over here, like, I get why the child labor laws were made, and they were made for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going to allow kids this young to sign with these pro teams, like, can we put a clause in there? Like, this isn't asking a kid to go into a hot metal plant around temperatures of 2,000 degrees where he can
go into
sever limbs off of his body here.
This isn't a Dickensian
professional sports match. Like, there should be some exception in the child labor laws. And this isn't just for Kevin. This is Julian Hall, Chloe Ricketts,
Christian McFarland
in San Diego. Mm-hmm. There's a number of these young kids that are finally showing up like they do in Europe on a normal basis. And they're not referred to as kids over there. They're just soccer players. It's not, oh, look, it's the 14-year-old. It's, oh, look, they signed a new soccer player.
Didn't Beckham sign a first team deal with, wasn't Beckham first signed by Man United first team in 14?
Somewhere around there, yeah. 13, 14,
This is the weird thing with this kid. Still, by the way, 33 minutes in, still no score for Copa. He has a contract right now where he can go over to Man City at the age of 18, or if he progresses well enough, he can go to some of the other Man City affiliates like Girona, Palermo, etc. by the age of 16. These are all teams that are under the same umbrella that NYCFC is under, and I find that really kind of funny in a way.
You gotta love geolocking.
Yeah. I mean, NYCFC has gotten crap for basically giving their players over, Tati Castellanos, Alex Cayens went over to Girona. Christian McFarland has interest over in England with Man City. And it's like a Philly kid who's born and raised in North Philly, trained in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And he's going to the NYCFC affiliate. It's like, ugh. It's even weirder than when like Matt Freese got traded.
Well, given how Sugarman doesn't want to spend money in Philly, could you imagine if he had a Premier League team or a La Liga team? My God.
That'd be relegated in like a half an hour.
They throw him out of the country in about 0.2 seconds.
They bought I think a 10% stake in I think it was a Danish team that they just got somebody transferred from.
So that was he gets a half a vote on the board.
Yeah, the transaction. I heard a few sources or two separate sources both refer to that transaction as, quote, costing less than Ty Baribo. one said his annual salary, one said his total contract. So either $700K or $2.8 million, depending on who you ask. But yeah, as I call him, Mr. Splendiman, since he doesn't have any actual sugar. And I saw a unverified picture of this guy that was dropped in the Union chat, Union fan Facebook group, where he looked like one of the groups from Clockwork Orange. I need to find that and send it to you. And I was just, he had a top hat and a cane, long hair, and a cane.
Okay, yeah.
I'm kind of shocked he didn't go join his fellow Philadelphian and with Wrexham if he just wanted to be a minority nobody.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm actually working on a video right now. I've got the B-roll. I got to re-record the audio, and I'll have it ready for tomorrow. So if he ends up taking the pitch on Wednesday, and he's scheduled for it, we can drop the video at that point. But I don't know. Like I said, how do you feel old? Have a 14-year-old basically, play Major League Soccer and cover the kid.
Yeah. I wonder. Honestly, I wonder if anybody could just pull Bedoya on the side and just ask him like what that feels like. Probably the oldest guy in the Union's uniform, and then you've got Kevin. Yep. It's almost like LA Angel City last year, where you had what was it, Allie Riley? Like she's stretching on the side, and then you got Alicia Thompson just blurting down the tunnel onto the field like stretching. What's stretching? I'm just going. Let's go.
Lamine Yamal is 16 years old. He just scored. He scored the winning goal in the semi. He's 16 years old. His dad is 32 and younger than several of his teammates. And
18 years in one day.
And now Messi is rolling on the ground in the 36th minute. Great.
Cannonball. If there's no broken bones, no foul.
Yeah. It wasn't. It was clean. Both him and the Colombian player running into the corner at the same time, and he just took a tumble into the deodorant ad.
Yeah, I just love the press conferences afterwards where each coach accuses the other of diving more, and it's like, how about we just end diving? Like, they did it in the NHL to a degree where when players started diving for calls, they went to the box. Well, how about yellow carding divers? Maybe.
Well, the league, MLS has changed some of the rules on that, and I think it has been for the better. Where these guys, just get fouled, just randomly, just whatever it is, just to burn time. The new rules about, having to go off the pitch, being down a man for a couple minutes, all these things, having X amount of time to get off of the pitch, I think is overall a good move. I like the idea.
Although I heard all the Miami fanboys whining when it was used against Messi a few games ago.
Well, listen, there's certain rules. You don't touch Messi. You don't touch LeBron. You don't touch Tom Brady when he was playing, or Patrick Mahomes now.
Yeah.
You touch Aaron Judge.
He's
6'11".
They took the concussion rule to circumvent it. In most cases, they'll get tackled at their ankle and they'll grab their head and claim that they just got smashed in the head and they've got a head injury. And because it was a head injury, now you don't have to stay there for 2 minutes. Go to the sideline and get called right back on. And that's the problem with this new rule. It's like, it's great, except players have adapted, and now instead of grabbing their ankle that got taken out, they're grabbing their head.
Yep.
Doctor comes out, evaluates them for concussion. Oh, yeah, no, you're clear.
Yeah. Messi is still down in there.
Every time you watch the replay, his head was never touched. His eyeballs were never touched. They're still in place. They're not bloodshot. Oh, it was really his ankle that got tapped.
Yeah. I was thinking of like the meme from the meme from The Hangover. But did you Cannonball? But did you die?
Yeah, that has been the theme for Cannonball this year. It's like, did you die? No, get up.
It's just a flesh wound. So we've been at this an hour at this point. My plan initially was to make this run an hour.
We can at least run till the halftime of.
All right, I can live with that.
Yeah,
I can live with that. So
that works.
So right now,
I don't know where my screen is relation to everybody else's. What time stamp you have?
I got 39 minutes, or just about 39.
Okay, you're a little ahead of me.
So, actually, I was gonna say funny thing. I'm actually not actually watching it right now because I can't get the TV to work. So there's a website called AI Score, which actually has all of the updates, all the possession, all the information, like near real time. So right now, possession, Colombia, basically, the ball just went back. It shows who has it. It's actually a really damn good website. So I'm at 39-11 right now. Yeah, Lerma has the ball going across midfield.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's about 40 seconds ahead of me. All right.
Yeah,
Impressive.
this is a really. I have used this like in the press box to really get a good landing on who's doing what at the moment.
Yeah, we don't need another Hannes Wolf Jovan moment where the entire press box swore it was Jovan that scored, and then the replay. Oh yeah, that was Hannes.
By the way, can I just point out that yesterday? I'm trying to figure out where to get rid of that. There we go. During the MLS broadcast, they kept referring to him as Hennis.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, Apple TV. Actually, you know what? Let me fix that. Change that to a 40. By the way, we peaked out on Facebook at like 66 viewers at one time. Right now, we're sitting at 45.
Nice.
So,
welcome.
Again, I would love to have gotten Twitter, but
welcome everybody. Like and subscribe and follow us at Streampunk Soccer on YouTube.
Yeah. Like I said, Twitter.
I cover the Philadelphia Union. He covers NYCFC. JJ covers
everybody.
A bunch of people.
Yeah. Twitter would have been fantastic for tonight. But it's like, just kidding. You got to have an X mark now or a checkbox. Didn't need it on Thursday, gentlemen. So.
Yeah, I heard because I was watching our friends over at AT Sports, their Union post game from last night, and they also had the same issue. Like, what you can't. They also realized that they were shut down on Twitter. So it just happened yesterday, apparently.
Okay, yeah, I had it set up like I normally do, and then I'm seeing it up top. I threw a tweet out there trying to bring it over to YouTube, but had I known, But the Olympics are coming up, so I'll readjust. I probably will throw the $8 a month in, pay tribute to Elon.
Listen, I wish I could do what I do without having to pay Elon for it. Like, to get the article section where all your articles show up so that this way they appear at the top of the search. So this way when people want news, they see your account before they see the troll. But to get that, you have to pay them at least, I think it's $20, which is what I'm up to now. Because the 11 doesn't even cover it. You got to pay a minimum of 20 for the articles, and then the 20. I'm still trying to figure out what the $22 one does besides giving you that absolutely obscured grid box where you can put up multiple people's tweets. Now, originally it seemed like a good idea. Like I thought they were going to have like a top row and a bottom row, and you can have things on top of each other. Oh, no, it's just single panels for the whole page. And you literally have, so if you've got 25 people that you need to follow during a game, because you're covering multiple games, you literally have to scroll all the way to the right, all the way to the left, find this one, find that one. If one's not being used as much, we'll shove them all the way down the line, bring somebody else over. And it's like, it was a good concept, but poorly executed. Like, if you would have done top, bottom, and had, at max, 12 people, all on the same one screen without having to go all over the place, would have been better. Maybe Elon will hear it. Who knows? But he has done, for as much shit as the man takes, he's done some good things with the platform and then done some really stupid things, like charging media outlets to get their message out.
It was never. I was never really into the site before, so I was never really big on Twitter personally, so just. Hop on, hop off.
I keep telling Twitter to stop giving me alerts about Biden and Trump, and it's like, okay, we'll adjust it. By the way, here's an article about Biden and Trump. Yeah, it's like I just said, don't do this. Yeah. Again, I am political Switzerland here.
What was it? The mute words or the keywords that you don't want to appear.
It doesn't work.
And no matter how many times I type in politics or to avoid those bots that everybody's getting ran over with, which it's not even bots anymore. It's actual people doing it now because Twitter was just like, free speech. It means everything. So
Messi lining up for a free kick in the 44th minute, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're going to make it to where you have to be at least 13 to join the site, I'm not sure allowing nudity on the site should still keep a 13-year-old being able to sign up for it. Like, at that point, if you're going to allow that content, like, it should be like every other site of that content where you got to be at least 21.
Okay.
But
you can find it anywhere. There's actually a subreddit on YouTube about nudity on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
There's a
subreddit where to find it. And it's like, damn.
But at least with YouTube, you actually have to go looking for it. Twitter, I was at it. I don't think JD. Were you at the last Union game? I forget.
I didn't make the Red Bull match. I didn't make it over there.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there with. I'm not sure what her job is with Nico and the communications department. I've never seen her before.
You mean Erica?
But we were just talking, and all I did was pull Twitter up.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 4 things on Twitter are all girls like showing their bodies and everything. And it's like, yeah, I guess you can't even open up Twitter in the press box safely.
The algorithm is finding what you like, I guess.
And it's like, it's people I don't even follow. Like, I even went in to see, like, okay, is this somebody I follow that's now trying to profit off of the new changes? No, it's random people that I don't even follow that are just popping up, or these graphic games where you got like gore all over the place, or these new videos that these little kids are making where they're like with the gore and the violence and everything, and it's like, why is this popping up automatically? Like, what algorithm is in place?
There we go.
All my tweets are either talking to you guys and the friends I have on Twitter, or speaking about soccer and hockey. So on what planet in the algorithm does that say, hi, throw up a girl in her bikini or less? Like,
listen, I can go into basically the algorithm, and my own personal brain, but I'm not going to. But we're about closing in on halftime at this point. There's only 1 minute.
We're a few minutes away from Shakira.
Yay! No. Yeah. By the way, I want to point out that Shakira's music, Hips Don't Lie and things like this, are basically qualified as oldies at this point. Her first song was about 25 years old at this point.
Like, is she doing that Waka Waka song?
Well, like Fozzie Bear?
No, the Waka Waka, what was it, the South African World Cup theme song?
I don't know. So.
Somebody posted, like, why is Messi all upset that Shakira's going to do Waka Waka at halftime? Like, should you just go out and watch? And it's like, oh my God.
Colombia, by the way, 4 shots on goal versus Argentina with 1. 4 shots off target also. 1 yellow card for them. It is currently 30 degrees Celsius right now with a 71% humidity. It is now halftime at this point. Again, no score as mentioned. And can you get back to the screen again? Colombia with ball possession 52%, 50% in the attack zone, and dangerous attack has been Colombia also. So it has been very heavy a Colombia-based match right here. So I'm going to throw this in the chat for you guys if you ever want to take a look and get an idea of what I'm looking at here. But
does it show how much Messi's walked during the match so far?
I do not know. I don't have any idea of how many miles they've run. But we may have to.
The only reason I ask is because it's been weird. I've gone back and I've watched clips of when Messi has scored his late winners. Mm-hmm. Usually they come when he's walked in the first half about at least 60% of the first half.
Yeah, I noticed that. I know
when he's having to run a lot, he's not as productive end of game as he is when he walks for the first half. That's the reason why I asked him. Like, if the AI is tracking all of that, like, did it track how much he walked as opposed to run?
It didn't, but I probably do have to wrap this up. I got to take care of some stuff upstairs. JD, you already know what I'm talking about. So we'll probably call it at this point about 70 minutes in. We never got into Jurgen Klopp or any of the other stuff we're going to talk about. But
TLDR, Klopp said no, he was a pipe dream anyway. Next call should be Steve Cherundolo. He has won more in 2.5 years than Greg Berhalter did in 5 years in MLS.
I still want the Nancy man.
Yeah,
Nancy. The more I've read about Nancy,
utterly upended that man's career twice now. Like, I would take Nancy over Steve. Like, Steve was on my ballot for being a pick, but Wilfred Nance is just on a completely different level than Steve.
I would be happy with either one.
But
no. Though Wilfred will probably take the French job over the U.S. job, but
probably.
Yeah, and also they'll pay him more. And and also one of the cons that I've read as far as Nancy for the U.S. national team would be that Nancy is kind of a system coach, and that's hard to implement at a national team level. Harder to implement at a national team level. It only meets a few times a year.
Fair.
That's about the only real negative, real knock on Nancy that I've read. And wow, I think that's a fair point.
Never heard anybody refer to him as a system coach, but yeah, okay.
All right. Like I said, I got to head upstairs. I got to handle stuff that both of you guys, I think, are aware of at this point. So thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you guys. I apologize. I got to check out. I got family issues upstairs with people and, cancer. So apologies. And like I said, my plan was to run this longer than it was, but the hour and 15-minute game delay, kind of fudged things up a little bit. Yeah. But like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Please, we want the views because basically the film industry has still sucked. I'm not getting the work I used to get, and I don't want to do it anymore anyway. So,
and I'm losing my mind in corporate hell.
There you go.
So I guess in the words of South Park, instead of blame Canada, blame Colombia.
Yeah, there you go. So, Colombia's like I said, they're controlling the point right now, so it'll be interesting to see the second half what happens. But anyway, guys, thanks as always. Appreciate it. You guys rock. Take care.